kind, and listen to the blind. Be open, be kind, and listen to the blind. Be open, be kind, and listen to the blind. Fix the... You want my sign?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We are out here in front of Community Center for the Blind and Visually. Yeah, we're going. Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, 2453 Grand Canal Boulevard, Stockton, California. Right up there. We have a group of protesters outside of the building this morning. We are continuing on at 9.5 months of protesting. Last week there was a public comments meeting, and many came in and did public comments, but we don't know if
I just brought the other side.
we don't know if anybody inside is going to make changes or not.
We have a minute to do that.
Time will tell, but until there are some action,
until
there is some action going on, then we will continue speaking out. So.
We are Stockton Blind Alliance. We are standing up for the blind of San Joaquin County, as well as the sighted that have been damaged by this place for years. We want a thriving, quality, inclusive blind center with equality, opportunity, and security for the blind. If you want to be part of this process, we welcome you to stand alongside us. Please sign our petition. Please share our posts on social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Until these changes happen, we will not be silenced anymore. We will not be intimidated, shut down, and we will not go away. Help us be valued. Help us let the Board of Community Center for the Blind know we are not invisible and should not be ignored.
That's right.
You can reach us at 209-200-8589. Stockton Blind Alliance at gmail.com. And as I said, we have 4 social media accounts. Please reach out for our advocacy. We will help you. Please help us. Fix the blind center. The blind deserve better. 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 Your taxes, donations, support blind degradation. 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 We're standing up for Bob. They made him quit his job. We're standing up for Bob. They made him quit his job. We're standing up for Bob. They made him quit his job. We're standing up for Bob. They made him quit his job. He can tell you more about that shortly. We want to know how funds are best being used to serve the blind. We know they sold a perfectly good building that was bought and paid off for pennies and are renting this expensive, crappy office. Where is your fiduciary responsibility to the center board? How can you account for this? We want an independent forensic audit of how you are using these finances to best serve the blind. We want an audit. Where did the money go? We want an audit. Where did the money go? We want an audit. Where did the money go? We want an audit. Where did the money go? Tell us where the money went. We want a new board president. Tell us where the money went. We want a new board president. Tell us where the money went. We want a new board president. Tell us where the money went. We want a new board president. And the executive director, Elsie Harada, needs to go.
Hit the road, Elsie. We don't need you here no more.
Quit demeaning the blind. Quit limiting the people that you pretend to serve. We will not be intimidated, shut down, harassed, and belittled by someone in a position of power at the center. The power belongs to the people. You are to serve. You are here to serve us. It does not go the other way. The community, the stakeholders, need to have a say in how this center is run. You never show respect for the blind people that are your clients, that are your staff, that are in your community. Blind respect you never showed. Tell her right, I hit the road. Blind respect you never showed. Tell her right, I hit the road. Blind respect you never showed. Tell her right, I hit the road. Blind respect you never showed. Tell her right, I hit the road. And I'm holding a sign that says shame, shame, shame. The treasurer of the Blind Center went by. He did not bother to talk to us about our concerns. He did not identify himself. He wore a mask and crept by like any other vagrant on the street here, saying shame, shame, shame to a group of peacefully protesting blind clients.
Then went in and called the police.
Then when we commented that this was not appropriate, he found out that we had told people about him doing this. He pulled up in his car, ran up and screamed in my face because we were saying things about it. We should know better.
Where's the accountability?
We should know better than to speak up and be good little blind people. Then he said, you'll see what happens next. Went into the center. As this threat hung over our heads, he called the police on us, 3 blind protesters, and a senior citizen peacefully exhibiting our First Amendment rights.
That's right.
This is how they treat clients of the center. This person needs to go. The president, Judy Howell, needs to go. The treasurer, Roy Patterson, needs to go. The executive director, Elsie Harada, needs to go.
That's right.
So we are turning Roy's words back to him. Shame, shame, shame. The treasurer said shame, shame, shame. Shame on him, for he's to blame. Roy Patterson said shame, shame, shame. Shame on him, for he's to blame. Roy Patterson said shame, shame, shame. Shame on him, for he's to blame. Roy Patterson said shame, shame, shame. Shame on him, for he's to blame. It's a shame to have a communication problem of hiding behind closed doors, micromanaging, discarding the input and the interests of the blind, because you see yourselves as the gatekeepers of any services, any crumbs to dispense in San Joaquin County. You need to go. We need blind representation picked with input from the blind community to best represent us, to bring a positive view to this center again. We want to be involved at every level. We are the blind who have the lived experience to best lead and advise. We need these problematic people gone. We will work with the rest, and we can make this a quality center again.
That's right.
Yes.
They could create more programs and all kinds of things like that for us, but they choose not to.
That's right.
Yes.
There's no quality transportation. There's no quality programs.
Activities, everything like that.
They use the pandemic as an excuse to get rid of every social and recreational program, and they have not brought them back. We need to serve every aspect of the blind community, all abilities, all backgrounds, all interests of the blind experience. This building is so small, you can't even hold a function here. You can't make noise here. People are not welcome here. The door is locked. There are so few services. This is not living up to the mission. People being called simple. People being called high maintenance simply because they have a high expectation is not raising the self-esteem of the blind, as it says in your mission.
That's right.
We are the very people that used to go in there and have a great time. Now we're the people that are out here protesting.
Communities on the sidewalk.
We're on the sidewalk.
Oh no, it's okay.
Open up the door and let the family get back together.
That's
Stop
right.
being our pain in the ass and
You got it,
Center
dude.
is for the people. It should be of the blind, for the blind.
Yeah.
Instead, it is people figuring out how they can rake in money from Department of Rehabilitation for the least level of service to be paid to sit in their offices and not have to deal with the clients who are out here on the sidewalk, who are out here in the community, who are hurting, who are waiting with delays, unreturned phone calls. So many problems at this place. We need a quality center to truly serve the blind of San Joaquin County again. Instead, they hide behind their doors, they bully people into silence, and they lie to cover it all up.
That's right.
Yes.
They bully, hide, and lie. Defund CCBV I. 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 The Blind Center's really foul. Give the boot to Judy Howell. The Blind Center's really foul. Give the boot to Judy Howell. The Blind Center's really foul. Give the boot to Judy Howell. The Blind Center's really foul. Give the boot to Judy Howell. Judy Howell. And before Judy, Michelle did her share of mucking things up. You know, that's how we got where we are. The Blind Center went to hell. Look at what you did, Michelle. The Blind Center went to hell. Look at what you did, Michelle. The Blind Center went to hell. Look at what you did, Michelle. The Blind Center went to hell. Look at what you did, Michelle. Her minion, Elsie, as case manager, mistreated, abused, and tried to silence, intimidate, and harass clients. Her behavior was reported. Instead of being reprimanded, fired, made to apologize, she was continually praised and promoted. Over our written and oral objections, she was placed a year ago, February, as the permanent executive director. They say give her a chance. She's been there over a year. There has been no repentance. There has been no change. There's been no improvement. We want a center run by a director who actually cares about the blind, that is qualified and has a heart for the blind.
That's right.
If you do not love your people, if you have self-hatred, you need to go.
That's right.
Do you want to talk about it?
I sure can.
We can barely hear you over there, Dad.
Let's see.
You want that? I turned it off. You turn it back.
Yeah, please.
Top left button.
Top left. Okay.
It's on.
Okay. All right. Can you all hear me? All right.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. So I was employed here for 6 months. My first job. Boy, was it a hell of a job. I'm a single dad from Modesto, as many here know. But for those who are watching, as this is being streamed out to multiple platforms right now, I was here. The original plan was to move here until I saw how manipulative and abusive the administration in this place is. I saw a lot. I saw the probably too close collaboration between this place and Department of Rehabilitation. There's probably an explanation as to why my counselor slash, well, someone who I worked with on a professional level at the same time, conflict of interest, by the way, saw how they all interacted. It was closer than what you would expect on a professional basis. But while working here, I saw that they really like to take advantage of their and other duties as assigned clause. But I was happy to have a job until I saw how abusive this place was. Until I heard from clients who were in tears because they were being screwed out of their training hours. And then I would have to start kind of from the beginning in training. And it got blamed on me, even though I didn't have the authority to process authorizations or anything else along those lines. I facilitated support groups. And I was told at one point, because I was a relatively fresh employee, one of the individuals in the support group had some negative comments about the center. People in support groups should be able to freely speak with confidentiality, though I didn't know about all of that at the time. And I expressed this to my director because I didn't know what to do. That's Elsie Harada, just to make things clear. And I was told that if anybody speaks negatively about this place, trying to pan over there to the center, if anybody speaks negatively about Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, then I'm to take down their name and email the name and what was said to the executive director, Elsie Harada, just for clarification. because I don't want it to get twisted that it was a former director or whatever the case is. I've seen how the gaslighting works here. I've been through abusive relationships, and I saw the signs at this place as well. So when you're told things like, oh, don't talk to your coworkers about your personal life or this and that, but you can come and talk to us about it, you can trust us. It sets up an environment where there's distrust amongst the coworkers who should be working together. And there are some great staff members in this center. People who love their job. People who love the clients, unlike the administration. I remember giving a technology demonstration and talk at a local retirement facility called O'Connor Woods. And as soon as Elsie and Sarah, and I didn't have any problems with Sarah personally. I know others have, and I totally respect that. However, when they got people signed in, they left. And I gave the presentation. And after the presentation was over, I sat there at the retirement facility for, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes because they weren't there. And you know what I found out? They want a check from the Rotary Club. See, they went to the Rotary Club meeting instead of, supporting their instructor who they said had the potential to be a director of AT services. I wouldn't have taken that, by the way, because when you accept a salary position from an abusive environment, they will use you until you're gone. And then they'll replace you. I wouldn't have accepted the position because I don't trust them. Use and abuse, exactly. The support group, confidentiality was lacking. Now, I'm sure that the facilitator is doing a great job because it's typically the staff, the trainers, in some degree or another, who facilitates the support group. People who actually do care about the clients.
The client board representative.
Administration does not. I had some clients who wanted to get going, start working so they could get a job, going through their training. I loved hearing the enthusiasm in their voices. One of them, from what I understand, is trying to get a position there right now. I won't give any details on that. But that person was referred to as high maintenance. Wow. Thing is there's a difference between driven and high maintenance. But when you have people who will take a stand for themselves, people who will take a stand for their future, they are not high maintenance. They're driven. People who micromanage and bully and gaslight and lie, in my opinion, are the high maintenance individuals. Because you have to put in a lot of work to keep them happy so you aren't getting chewed out and having a very uncomfortable work life. That, folks, is high maintenance. People who are a part of the blind community, which has the highest unemployment rate out there, statistically speaking, 70% or above. I know people with master's degrees who are struggling to find work. You know why? Because their eyes don't work. See, the thing is we aren't less human just because our eyes don't work, and we don't deserve to be treated as though we're supposed to accept the crumbs.
Isolated from each other.
We shouldn't be isolated from each other. We shouldn't be told not to talk to one another and spread a positive philosophy, the philosophy of I can.
That's right.
Shame on them.
We're not their cash cow.
Yes, we are not their cash cow. And today marks, I think it's about 289 days since the protest began. Now, November 5th, we had a meeting because Jennifer here had gotten in contact with somebody who wanted to start an advisory committee, which they took credit for reaching out to. No, they did not reach out to that individual.
Ever in a million years taking advice from anyone else without 9 months of protest.
That's right. So they took credit for that, making it look like it was all them. Stated in an email after 11 weeks of no communication, following a very positive, what seemed to be positive, collaborative meeting between Stockton Blind Alliance, CCBV I, and two individuals who were discussing setting up this advisory committee. After 11 weeks of no communication, Jennifer reached out to be told to the effect of, we don't feel that Stockton Blind Alliance has a desire to have positive collaboration at this time. That's gaslighting. That's gaslighting, in my opinion, from a board member who was experienced in psychology at his workplace.
More delays, more stonewalling, more lip service, and no action as people for months and months continue to be abused in this toxic environment.
Correct.
Schedules and holidays shouldn't come before human beings.
That's right.
If you really had a priority to make change, there would be a sense of urgency to act upon the input of the blind community to make every effort to change this, to improve their reputation, to improve the prospects here for the blind. But self-interest, arrogance, and conceit are too prevalent.
That's right.
Here.
And
it's not about you, it's about serving the blind.
It's pretty selfish to allow your neighbors to have to endure nearly 10 months of protesting because you don't want to communicate, but you say that your clients, who you have kicked to the sidewalk, are the problem. Good morning. That is very shameful. Allowing your neighbors to go through that. Changing a scheduled fundraiser and leaving the protesters who had to arrange rides at a church and letting the church be in question as to why there's a protest there. That's selfish.
Yes.
Very selfish. It's called take accountability. Yes, we had a meeting last Tuesday where we were able to give public comment 2 minutes, and those 2 minutes went fast.
The first time ever.
First time ever.
At this organization.
Now, I will concede the fact that we were given a lot more time than what was allotted. However, after 9.5 months, there's been no apology to Jen for the treasurer getting in her face unannounced. He announced or unannounced. Roy Patterson should not have gotten in Jennifer's face. That's not how you treat a registered client, folks. Now,
have an HR, right? That's kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't know how to relate with humans.
Grievance policies need to be resolved professionally.
Yes,
and
correct.
You need an external source when there is so much toxic pollution here. You need a fair grievance resolution policy. Not if you complain, that just means you're targeted for retaliation.
That's right.
That's how it currently is. There's no organization over the board. How can you complain to the board about the board repeatedly with no change? What is your next step?
And that's another interesting thing. When we were at a meeting, oh boy, I think it was maybe September, October. The board members present there said they never saw my resignation letter. Doesn't that stuff have to go through the board?
You would think the board president should be sharing all communications with all members, but she had them pass a bylaw in June of 2021 or May of 2021, giving her the right to discard anything she deems, quote, bullying or harassing without sharing it with the rest of the board.
AKA truth.
Clearly putting in writing what the practice had already been, that all of our input was going into a black hole.
Right. So what I'll say is this. We appreciate the extended time. However, that should have been done a long time ago. What we want to see now is, after hearing all except for one negative comments about this place, and I'm going to be very honest, and this is my opinion and mine alone, the other comment had no backing.
Yes.
We're out here on the sidewalk. We have backing. We've seen it. Employed, non-employed, clients, family members who have talked to people who have been clients here. There's backing there.
Yes.
Over 3 years of paper trail from attempting to meet and communicate and negotiate with these people, followed by documented social media and otherwise presence of these concerns. Have they come out and put an end to these concerns? Have they answered the questions in any way, shape, or form? Not at all. There is no accountability transparency, or appropriate responsiveness. This needs to change.
I'd also like to state that when the protests began, I received a follow request from one of the support group attendees. Won't mention names. I don't know if that person knew my last name or not. I didn't talk to them outside of work. And they are somebody who favors this place. You see, the thing is that this place has a total lack of trust for the community that it is to serve. But there is no community inside of these walls. There is an employee base who is lacking morale because they're generally provoked by fear from communicating with one another and having camaraderie, which you would find in a normal working environment. You see, community encourages edification. Community encourages collaboration. A cult is what tells you who you should and should not talk to, who you should and should not spend your time with. That is a cult. And this, unfortunately, at this point in time, in my personal and humble opinion, is an epicenter for the destruction of the blind and visually impaired, because there is not a healthy environment for growth. And it needs to be changed. And it shouldn't be just political, empty promises. We're used to seeing that. From presidential elections, everything else in politics, we're used to seeing that. As the blind community, we're used to being told, oh, you should be grateful for what you get. You know, it's a sacrifice that you have to make for the privilege of having a job as a blind person.
Right.
We're used to empty promises, but we're not going to stand for it anymore. And until we see action, putting someone through a leadership course who is behaving as a terrible leader, you can't.
She's supposed to be blind.
You can't put glitter on a turd, as we said before. That course was over in December. Has anyone seen improvement?
A leopard does not change its spots. And I was told by the executive director, those words stick in my mind. It's one of the reasons why I left quicker than I wanted to, because I wanted to enjoy a little bit of comfort with my kids before I walked away and went back to SSI. And forgive me for the vulgarity, but this is a direct quote from the executive director, Elsie Harada. In her office, as she stated, I'm a bitch, and I've always been a bitch. Wow. That is not professionalism. That is not what clients should be coming into. They should be coming in to open arms. They should be coming into an environment that wants to see them grow, that wants to see them go and compel them to go out and make a better future for themselves. That's people of all ages, from children to seniors. They should have that kind of environment. But instead of having a place with sunshine, healthy soil and water, they have a place with smoke screens. They have a place with ash, burning fire. And many people walk out of here consumed and destroyed instead of compelled to go forward. I've seen it. Seen it.
The mushrooms kept in the dark and fed BS.
That's right.
That's what the clients are. Any client, any staff, or any volunteer that is exposed to this place needs to reach out with your stories for our advocacy and to help change it before any other person is harmed by CCBV I, which should really be the corrupt center breaking the visually impaired.
The epicenter for the destruction of the blind and visually impaired.
That's right.
Sadly. So all I'm going to say here, I may interject thereafter, but we've never been out here with the intent of sinking the ship. However, when the captain is abusing the crew, when the others who are associated with the captain are abusing the crew, they're casting people out into deep waters when they aren't ready to swim. They're boasting about, oh, now you know how to pick up a cup of water safely, and now you know how to brush your teeth. That is not independent living, folks. That is a small part of it. It is the tip of the iceberg. I've asked it before, and I'll ask it again and again. What's your success rate? And where is the proof? But instead of doing those things, you lie and say, oh, we got an advisory committee. No, we did. Instead of working together, with registered clients who are out here on this sidewalk at this very moment. You say it's a bunch of disgruntled people.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people who are out here to cause trouble.
Right.
You see,
We have a life.
we have lives outside of this. Do we want to be up here? No. But that's dependent on those of you inside of those walls. And I'm not talking about the staff. I'm not talking about the AT instructors, the mobility. There's some good people in there. I'm talking about the ones who have power to make change, but instead of using that power to make change, they gaslight and they lie and they call the police on people who are using their First Amendment right to try to provoke positive change in a place that is putting out nothing but negative energy. And it's time for change at Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Here's the thing. Either you show that there's a community, or you take that word off of your damn sign.
Right. Yeah. We want you to know what's really going on behind the closed doors at Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. We are here until 11:30 a.m. at 2453 Grand Canal Boulevard, Suite 5, Stockton 95207. You can call us at 209-200-8589. Email StocktonBlindAlliance@gmail.com. This is streaming out live. You are watching us now. YouTube, Twitter,
Facebook.
And we also have Facebook, and we have Instagram that doesn't have the live feed. But you can find us on all these platforms. Please support us. Please amplify our voices for change.
And don't forget to sign our petitions.
Yes, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, the petition is in the description. Right now, we're at 621 signatures. Please go out and sign it if you haven't, and we very much appreciate the support. If you're seeing what's going on up here and your heart has been moved by it, then you can lend your voice regardless of wherever you are in the world. You can speak out virtually by signing that petition.
Yes.
That's totally up to you, and if you do, we very much appreciate it.
We also have a print petition that we're circulating locally. If you have a few minutes to stop by today or reach out, we would love to send you a copy of our petition. We are trying to make an impact, a population that is being marginalized and ignored.
That's right.
By the leadership, quote unquote, here at the center. We want, as Bob said, a new captain. We want fresh blood in the crew, and we want to be part of the direction of the future of the center. If it goes down the tubes, it will only be due to the lack of care and arrogance of the current leadership. Amen. We will work with the rest. We want them returning to their original mission, providing experiences, and services, and opportunity for all the blind of San Joaquin County.
We want programs, activities, and a store, and much more. We want the vans back to drive our clients to and fro.
They can't afford to be here.
Yep. If you want good public relations, you have to make them. You can't just sit here and say, oh, we do this and that for the public. We are the public out here. You want good public relations? Then make good public relations. Stop being a mouth and start getting on your feet and taking some damn action.
Right. You can't have stakeholders if there's nothing to have a stake in. You don't want public input. You don't embrace the input of the blind, but you expect donors to support your cause. It's a lot easier to support if the blind themselves are happily able to bring their family, friends, allies, and supporters in and show them the positive changes resulting from the center. You can put words to paper. You can send out your little glossy report and emails, but it's not true. And anyone that looks a little further will see that. The veil needs to drop.
The exploitation has to stop. The veil needs to drop.
The exploitation has to stop.
The veil needs to drop.
The exploitation has to stop.
The veil needs to drop. The exploitation has to stop.
Let the clients grow.
Administration has to go. Let the clients grow. Administration has to go.
Let
the clients grow.
Administration
has to go.
Let the clients grow.
Administration has to go.
How can you still be in stage 1 of reopening from COVID? It's an excuse.
That's right.
COVID's no excuse, and you need to stop the blind abuse. COVID's no excuse, and you need to stop the blind abuse. COVID's no excuse, and you need to stop the blind abuse. COVID's no excuse, and you need to stop the blind abuse. The blind want more. Hurry up and lock your door. The blind want more. Hurry up and lock your door. The blind want more. Hurry up and lock your door. The blind want more. Hurry up and lock your door. We're Stockton Blind Alliance. We're standing up to help the clients. Stockton Blind Alliance. We're standing up to help the clients. Stockton Blind Alliance. We're standing up to help the clients. Stockton Blind Alliance. We're standing up to help the clients. And the staff and the volunteers and everyone who's been damaged by this place for so many years.
That's right. Justice. Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Nothing about us
Without us. Nothing about us without us. Nothing about us without us. Nothing about us without us. Without.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
So what can change things here? It's time to make a start. Show us
That you have a heart. Time to make a start. Show us that you have a heart. Time to make a start. Show us that you have a heart. Time to make a start. Show us that you have a heart.
That's right. We're standing up for Bob.
They made me quit my job.
We're standing up for Bob.
They made me quit my job.
We're standing up for Bob.
They made me quit my job.
We're standing up for Bob.
They made me quit my job.
It's not raining today, but if Roy Patterson's around, you need to wear a rain poncho.
Yeah.
Getting mad. It is so inappropriate for a board member to have this kind of conduct and to not be reprimanded for it.
Yes,
Where's the
It's a
apology?
shame.
that's right.
Shame, shame, shame.
Shame
Let
on
this
Roy
go way too
Patterson,
far.
for he is to blame.
He's been the treasurer for 13 years. Judy Howell has been the president of the board for 13 years. They still have no concept and no concern for blindness etiquette.
Correct.
We were on a meeting with people from the NFB state chapter. Maybe they don't know all the board members' voices. I know they're hardly around, so how would most of us know their voices? You know, I asked simply, politely, President Howe, could you please have the speakers identify themselves before speaking? You know my voice, Jennifer.
They should never do that.
No.
Not everybody here does. And we know yours because, yes, we hear it in our nightmares, but we haven't been exposed to the rest of the board. Most people do not know what Scott Fry sounds like. Most people do not know what Bonus Hun sounds like. Who is Bonus Hun? Who are these individuals? Sharon Singh, we finally met last Tuesday. Sheila Patterson has been secretary probably 20 years. David and I had gone to the board in 2003. Members and clients and outside people have gone to the board multiple times.
Yeah.
They should know us.
Yes.
But just because you take your glasses off and have a little difficulty seeing doesn't mean you can count yourself as visually impaired. That's insulting.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not educated. Even someone that is blind in one eye, if they are not blind in the other eye, is not considered legally blind.
No.
These are tokens.
Yeah.
And you set people up to fail with your little gestures and your little lip service and your stonewalling to make any concrete, legitimate changes because you don't care about the blind community.
And not being open. They're not open enough. They got to
That's right.
share with all of us.
Nope.
Everything that goes on.
They say everything
They're-
they want. They just don't do it. Right.
That's it.
Actions speak louder than
Behind the
words.
closed doors because they're scared. They can get the hell out.
But then they say they're open for us, but we just press a button. The point is, even if this door was blocked open, You know, do you have a hazmat suit? Who wants to go into that toxic environment? We can't, in good conscience, point your mother, your child there. We can't recommend that our friends go there to volunteer because we know how people are crapped on, torn up, and shredded by this place. It's all use and nothing else.
Oh,
it needs to change.
Yeah.
Can I borrow that for
Yeah.
a second? There's something that just crossed my mind.
There you go.
Thank you.
You got yours back, please?
I think she stepped away for a phone call. So last week when we were here for the public comment, was it last week already?
Yeah.
Yep.
Boy, does time fly. I wonder if it'll be another 11, 12 weeks. I don't know. It was stated that Community Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired is working with some other places, including one that's in my city. Yeah. And I'm good friends with somebody there. Okay. When I walked away from this place, I expressed to that individual as to why. Now, I know that Society for the Blind in Sacramento works with that same place in Modesto in a very, very generous way, in the sense that sometimes Society for the Blind will bring down a van and some of the people from VIPS in Modesto will go on a trip with those from Society for the Blind. Wow. That sounds like community right there. Yeah, what are you all doing? You don't even have a van.
They got 2 vans.
You aren't using them. No. They aren't using them. No. But what? I hope they didn't sound that. That would be just like the building.
This thing has a lot of feedback.
But the thing is that I know what it's like at VIPS. I know some of the people there, and you want to know what the difference is? They really do care, and they exhibit that through their actions. You can't just give words. If your words and your actions don't line up, and I was taught this when I was a kid, it puts you under this category of something called a liar. Hypocrisy. Because the actions and the words, they don't line up. And you can give us all the words you want.
That's right.
You see, we waited and waited and waited, and then November 5th, we had a meeting. They went very well, like I've mentioned before. Just to be told 11 weeks later that we're the ones who don't want to communicate.
And they're barely starting to make any movement from that meeting.
What happened to our friend Ann?
Are you giving me? I have
one. Yep.
Okay, I have one from Alicia.
Oh, okay. You want to keep hold of that?
So some of the comments shared in the meeting on February 21st reflect this. A client who lives in Tracy cannot afford $25 each way on the only publicly available transportation that is within the realm of possibility. $50 is a lot for someone on a fixed income.
Yep.
Who could afford to do that more than once a month out of the blind community here? Yeah. Some of us, we have dial-a-ride within the city here. It's, $6 round trip, which is a sacrifice. And I thank everybody that spent their gas money, their time, their effort to be here. But it's unreasonable to say you are serving the blind of San Joaquin County when they can't afford to get here and you are not offering anything to draw them here. Yes.
Right.
It's just wrong.
Just like being an employee here, and I was paying out $400 a month out of my paycheck to come up here to work. To come up here to work remotely, it was roughly $100 round trip via Lyft out of my own pocket, mind you. Now, people in the sighted community who can drive, I guarantee you they aren't paying that much in gas.
Right.
But around $100 round trip to come up here to work 4 times a month to do remote work. That's pretty inexcusable for, the sacrifice that you have to make for the privilege of having a job as a blind person.
They got a grant for the first time ever for a van with a lift to actually accommodate clients with other disabilities. Great. And it never got used for that purpose. Wow. So what have they done? The vans are not behind here anymore. Have they been sold? Another thing, where did the money go?
Yeah, right.
Again.
Why do you let the community donate resources? They just did new cupboards, new stoves, all kinds of things at the old building. And then, they sold it. And it sat there unused for 4 years, getting broken into by the homeless while they threw away thousands and thousands of dollars a month here for rent. and then they secretly sold it, although they had said, when things get better downtown, we will go back there. It was a lie. It's another lie. Yeah. And why do you think that we keep calling you on your accountability, transparency, and appropriate responsiveness?
That's right.
You lie, and then a year and a half later, you say it was sold, as anyone who looks online can tell. For one thing, not every blind person has the capacity yet or ever to be online. But you say check our website daily for updates.
Which isn't very accessible.
You have no responsibility to your clients in reaching out in modes that are acceptable and appropriate for each individual. You had no desire to inquire of that. We provided you with a list of contacts for just our participants in this last public comment session. We are waiting to see what you do with that information. Nothing so far. Nothing about us without us. 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 What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now. That website, by the way, no, you're fine. For your average basic screen reader users, that website is not the most accessible.
The menu button is unlabeled on the home page, which is like the heart to getting anywhere else on
right.
the site.
And I had also heard complaints about making documents accessible.
Yes.
See, if you're in this field, you either need to go through some sensitivity training or you need to go somewhere else.
Yes.
Because if people are not able to see the documentation, the technology is there to make it accessible.
Yes.
You can pretty simply encode an HTML page or do other things to make it accessible. Microsoft Word, even LibreOffice, which is a free office suite, has accessibility testers for the documents that you can run through to find out if it's accessible. But when you're complaining about making documents accessible and you're working at a center for the blind, you complain about making documents accessible to your blind clients. What the heck are you doing here?
Your blind employees.
Yeah.
You know, it was like pulling teeth to get an accommodations request when you worked here. The last director, Michelle Gavon, was so pleased that she thought the ADA didn't apply to businesses with 15 or fewer employees until she found out California had more stringent and acceptable guidelines for that. Then she grudgingly finally had someone make an accessible accommodations request form available after belittling us, making us feel horrible for years when we did everything with our time to try to make things right. But when the time clock that's purchased is not accessible, for example, why wouldn't you buy one from the get-go that was, instead of making people feel like crap because they can't use it? Or that you're a bother getting help from another employee when you buy a copy machine that has multi-level layers and LED that you cannot bump that. There's no way to access that. The point is, this is a center for the blind, and if any business should be accommodating, supportive, and helpful to its employees to be successful, show that they are mentors, that they are successful in their jobs. Why would you belittle them, talk about them behind their backs, and degrade them?
Yep.
This is not a center for the blind. It needs to be a center for the blind. That is of the blind, with our input, advice, and respect built into the equation.
For all San Joaquin County.
Yep. And check this out, folks. If that's how it is on the inside, how is it on the outside? Well, let's pan around. How is it on the outside, guys? Do you feel like you're being treated well as clients?
Hell no.
That's right.
Yeah.
The employees are treated like crap. The clients are treated like crap. But you know who isn't treated like crap? The yes people. I recall while I was working here that Executive Director Elsie Harada asked me after work one day, it was the very day that I went home and went to the hospital with blood pressure of 216/100. She'd asked me, do you want to come and join some of us? We're going to get drinks after work. Sorry, I may have never had a job before, but I certainly wouldn't go and have drinks with a manipulative and abusive individual.
Right.
They can stand behind the glass. Joe, over there, you know they don't like community feedback, so watch the feedback on that microphone. Let the clients grow. Administration has to go. Let the clients grow. Administration has to go. Let the clients grow. Administration has to go. Let the clients grow. Administration has to go.
Believe me, there's more people out here than there is in there.
That's right.
There's no community and there's no blind in a center that purports to serve the blind.
They teach through DOR, so that's great, but come on, people.
There's more to the blind experience than getting raked over the coals for a few dollars, tossed out into a world you're not prepared for when you've been walled off from the community that could support you and best advise you and show you the potential of your future.
And not just that, but when you have underpaid employees, but then your executive director gets a raise to $75K a year, while you have employees who have to pay gas costs and everything else to come into work, and they're still underpaid. It kind of shows you where things stand.
Right.
It's pretty messed up.
The priorities are on administration, having little cush offices, paychecks, pets are privilege. Everyone else is a tool for the cause, pawns in the game. The clients, the staff, they are micromanaged.
Cash cows.
Cash cows to be used, abused, drained, and cast aside for the next crop. We don't want you to be in that crop. In this environment, it's full of crop. No. The toxic environment is not conducive to a successful outcome. That is why we are asking to get rid of the problematic people. For starters, Judy Howell, the board president, Roy Patterson, the treasurer, Elsie Harada, the executive director. We will work with the rest. We will serve on this board. We will serve on this staff, and we will encourage people as clients if the environment changes.
Yes.
If this place does not change, I don't see it lasting too long, and that will be a failure of the fiduciary and other responsibilities of this board of directors to be responsive to the community needs.
Yeah.
We're waiting for a change. We're waiting for action and response. We want justice for the past. We want equality, opportunity, and security for the blind now and in the future.
Yeah.
What do we want?
Justice! When do we want it? Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now! You see, we've been told that we need to focus more on the processes and not on the people.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. The processes have to be adhered to by the people upon whom those processes are being implemented.
That's right.
Now, many have seen a history longer than I have of a lot of empty words. The problem is that the people upon whom these processes are being implemented are people who have caused harm to the blind community.
Yeah.
You see, you can't force a leopard to change its stripes, spots. It doesn't happen. Yeah, my bad. Thanks for the correction on that. But you can't do that. You see, there needs to be a change in the people.
Yeah.
And those people need to be people who, number one, have a heart for the blind community. Number two, want to see that community succeed.
Yeah.
Number three, have not even an iota of a desire of causing destruction or harm to said community. They need to be people who value the community, who are sensitive to the statistics of the community, who are sensitive to the needs of the community, who can be sensitive to helping somebody who has lost sight midlife, and not just say, oh, now you can safely lift a cup of water. No, they need to be able to walk out and say, dude, I just cooked some chicken. I made a meal. I didn't think I'd be able to do this again. One of the clients who I had, very lovely person, labeled as high maintenance, but she was very driven. I taught her a piece of assistive technology that I didn't even know how to use, but I read a manual, and I taught her how to do it over the phone. And she was in tears. And she said, I never thought I'd be able to handwrite letters again. I never thought I'd be able to read physical books again. See, it's about destroying those I never thought statements, not about destroying the people. It's about reshaping and positively changing the world for those who are losing their sight or have lost their sight. It's about positive change. It's about making life better, not about making people better. And if you don't sincerely want to do that, walk out that door and let somebody else who would value the position take that place.
The bigotry.
It's time for the board and the poison and the starter to pack their ship and set sail.
Yep.
Low expectations create barriers between the blind and our dreams. There are low expectations here. They want to provide the minimum for the maximum payout, not caring about the consequences for clients.
That's right.
That needs to change.
That's right.
Blindness is only a characteristic. It doesn't define us in our future.
No, it
we
doesn't.
need to be here to lift others up,
Yes, we
to
do.
show them their potential, and
Yeah.
to be a support after their few training sessions end here.
Yes.
Because we actually have a heart for the blind
Yes.
and a hope for their future.
Yes.
You see, McDonald's is not a community. The doctor's office is not a community. Those are in and out places. You go to get something and you leave. A community is long lasting. A community stands together. A community works together despite any differences of opinions. The differences of opinions are discussed, not by people on a sidewalk with bullhorns. They're discussed around a table.
Yes.
They're discussed. Community is about edification. Community is about growth. Community is about collaboration. Like I said, McDonald's is not a community.
Right.
Might be a fun place to sit and have coffee.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is not community.
No.
This place is not community. And that needs to change.
Yes.
Either change the name or live up to the one you have.
I think there's feedback when we're like face to face. I think.
Uh-oh.
Turn sideways.
My bad.
Let's say, when you hear constructive criticism, if you have no accountability, you can't change, you can't learn, you can't grow. If you surround yourself with yes men and yes women, you cannot improve, and you will be defunct before you know it. You cannot end a meeting on a positive note saying we're moving forward, and it's just a lie, because then you turn around and say you guys aren't interested in working together. That's bull. We've been working on this for years and years. Someone on the other side needs to have a conscience and stand up. You can say you don't have problems with some of the people here. Anyone here knows this is true, and you need to see what side of history you're going to come down on in the abuse of the blind.
That's
I know
right.
Alicia is willing to read some of the testimonials that were shared at the public comment period.
I don't know why it's feeding off.
You want to trade?
Yeah. I don't know. It's only because we're face to face. I think. Like when I get.
I'm not sure because the one across the street's doing it too, I think.
When it's like when they're singing in front. I mean, like Miguel Mendes and Peggy's maybe. Or... Okay, well, you can talk until I find it. Yeah, until you find it for sure.
Now, are you okay to be on camera?
Oh, I guess so. This one.
Okay, if not, it's okay. I can.
I'll let her find it. Yeah, and then I'll let you know when I find it. Okay. I gotta turn sideways so I'm not feeding off you, Bob.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh, it's because the bullhorn is pointing. It's not because it's too loud. It's because there's
We
something.
need more programs, activities.
The other one I was at with that.
We need a store in the blind center.
Yes.
Bring back the center as it was.
A safe environment for volunteers.
And if this place is not big enough for that, get us another building. Get us a big one like the one we used to have.
As an example, it wasn't big enough because there was way too many of us last Tuesday. Overcrowded. It was overcrowded last Tuesday.
Yeah, we may have violated the fire.
But it's always subjective. The rules only apply at certain times to certain people. It's another problem here besides the nepotism.
The selective social distancing when I was here.
The selective masking policy. The selective, all of a sudden anyone who rings the doorbell can come in. It's only locked. I thought it was locked to keep the protesters out. I thought it was locked for safety. Keep your story straight. I'm trying, but with this one I have feedback.
Here, I'll give you this one.
Okay, let me give this one to Alicia.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll grab it back. Wait, I don't know if I have it yet. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can use this one.
Thank you.
Yeah. If there's a sign or a person in front of you, you'll get feedback. I found it.
Inside, they're filling the orchard, though. They call it the orchard. I imagine those
Do you want me to read? We're going to say be open, be kind, listen to the blind person, and then you'll read.
Be kind and listen to the blind. Be open. Be kind and listen to the blind. Be open. Be kind and listen to the blind. Be open. Be kind and listen to the blind.
Here are some words that were shared Tuesday with the board. What will they concretely do to respond appropriately in a timely fashion and rectify these serious issues?
That's right.
I want to read next month, maybe 3 or 6, maybe next month. I want to read a testimonial by Miguel Mendez. He states a lot of the feelings that represent everyone out here. I'd like you to listen carefully. You, the CCBV I board, for the record, already know the harm that blind people have suffered under your watch. So please do a huge favor to my blind brothers and sisters today as they share and assuming you demonstrate any degree of interest or engagement at all, please refrain from falsely reacting with shock to the despicable conditions and situations many of us describe. After all, you and I both know that despite all of your hiding and dodging, the National Federation of the Blind and the Stockton Blind Alliance have already forced into your unwelcoming ears the details of all the suffering you facilitate as board members for this shameful entity you oversee. The list of preventable horrors is inexcusably long. These specific numerous ailments do have one magic pill that serves as the cure. However, we, the blind, must serve in meaningful numbers on this board. CCBVI is the embarrassment that it is because it is not led by individuals it supposedly loves to serve. The mission statement of CCBVI claims to be, quote, to provide the means by which people who are blind and visually impaired can improve and sustain their capabilities to reestablish purpose and self-esteem in their lives and in society while leading independent lives. Wow, really? So where on this board are those very blind persons with all the skills and capability you supposedly help to generate? Is it the treasurer, Roy Patterson? Is it Danny Nuss? Perhaps the blind person is the president of the board. That would make the most sense, right? Is President Judy Hell blind? Of course not. You could never have that. It would undermine your position as the self-appointed gatekeepers dispersing crumb-sized trash to those poor blind people in Stockton. That is Miguel Mendez's testimonial.
Thank you.
I bet it was.
Thank you, Alicia.
I bet it was nice to not have to have that 2 minutes on there. One thing I'll say really quick. My fiance and I have done some videos on YouTube about paranormal activity in different places, and you might be wondering how is that relative to this? Well, there's a place called Pennhurst Asylum that was a hospital over in the Pennsylvania area. It was a place where they had children and people who needed an asylum, but those people were abused. They were abused, and they evidently haunt that place to this day. The thing is, this place may have some ghosts. It's kind of like what the Bible says, right? That Pennhurst Asylum, it might look nice on the outside, but on the inside, it's full of dead men's bones. And with what this place is doing, They are slaughtering the hearts and the souls of the community that they're supposed to be building up. They are ruining futures. They have the opportunity to shape futures. And I guarantee you that the staff inside, I'm sure from reception all the way to the trainers, have a desire to see that. But administration does not. Why? Because they don't care. They don't exhibit that they care. Giving extra time at a meeting is great, but it shouldn't have taken 9 months of protesting to get that.
That's right.
So, are you going to be shiny and glossy on the outside and full of dead men's bones? Or are you going to resurrect the inside of that place and make it a place that will it'll shape a brighter future for the community that you're going to serve? Like I've said before, and I'll say again and again. If you are not going to try to build community, take the word off of your sign and change your damn name.
Right.
Right.
We want a center that is the best of the blind community, a place where people, though they may be at work, may be at school, can congregate in the evenings, weekends, special occasions, where family, friends, and supporters are welcome to come in, share ideas, expand on the support for the center, the dream, and the actual mission and vision going forward for the blind of San Joaquin County. As we said, we cannot in good conscience point people in behind those poisonous doors.
We want a bigger building with a backyard for privacy and enough space to hang out.
What about it, Elsie? There's no room for the blind in the current center. It has been turned into a tiny office suite, a place where they can extract DOR dollars for minimal incomes. Only their income is the concern. This needs to change. This really needs to change.
The director overriding the instructors.
Oh yeah, you want a bullhorn, Lisa?
Okay. The instructors, Elsie Harada, overriding the IT and the instructors, what students can have. The board also got Miguel Venegas fired, a school district teacher that he's trying to support his family. He got a job from out in the blind community, not coming to the center. They try to get him fired. Miguel Venegas is wanting blind babies, blind parents to come to the center. Wow, I wouldn't, he doesn't want them coming here in this atmosphere. It's contagious. It's intoxicated. It's deteriorating. Yes. They are not helping no one, no senior citizens, young adults, teenagers. We all should be around each other. We all should look forward to come here. Hey, you guys gonna come here next week? Yeah, maybe. Not. You don't even get that conversation. You got people that are new, don't know what's going on. There's senior citizens here that don't know what's going on. They want to know what's this protest about. They could come and check us out. You can't hold them against their will.
That's right.
Do something physical for us. Take us to play beat ball. Take us to play kickball.
Yeah.
Take us bowling.
Yeah. Well, bingo wasn't that big.
How about some work development programs that aren't little fake token gestures to get DOR money? How about actually reaching out in the community, showing that you have confidence in the blind and our skills and promoting us as employable? But no. This needs to change. I know we have many testimonials, people sharing what they miss, what they hope for. How will these dreams continue to be crushed by people that have no care or concern for the blind community? We need a change in leadership. We demand the removal of President Judy Howe. We demand the removal of Treasurer Roy Patterson. And we especially demand the removal of Elsie Harada, the executive director.
Yep.
We want someone immediately put in as interim director temporarily while a quality actual search with much blind input after these years of harm is given to find a candidate that can inspire, that can actually serve the blind, work alongside us as a blind person or not. If we have the blind candidate, that's great. If they are open and welcoming to blind input, we will work with them. But this needs to change.
Somebody that cares for us.
The staff members need to do a strike, the ones that are good ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to.
The
We
thing
can
is
keep
they're
going.
probably too scared to do a strike because they don't want to lose their drugs.
We can end the stream and keep protesting.
Yeah, I have to end the stream because my battery's getting ready to.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and I don't have a charger. Unfortunately, I thought I did, but.
So I'm gonna sign us off real quick.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Thank you for hanging out online. If you're listening, if you're watching, Stockton Blind Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Call us 209-200-8589. Stockton Blind Alliance at gmail.com. Thank you for your support. Thank you for having a heart for the blind.
Yes, thank you.
Reach out to us. We will not ignore your calls.
That's right. We appreciate each and every one of you out there. And if you are online and you'd like to lend your voice, please sign our petition. The link is available on Facebook and YouTube. You can search us out at Stockton Blind Alliance. But we appreciate all of you joining in virtually and showing your support. And you all have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're tuning in from.
In higher ed, but he's not educated enough to make statements because we don't know anything about.
Are we off now, Bob?